Hello, welcome to Signs and Wonders. Today I'm going to talk about the idea of a temple. You may have heard, it's a common phrase in a way, that your body is the temple of your soul, that you are living in a body and the body acts as your temple, and that you should look after your body just as in ancient times people looked after their temples, kept them beautiful, kept them clean, and so forth. And they also went to the temple to make offerings to the gods. So that's like, eating good food and so forth. So the temple is a very interesting metaphor for who you are and how to work in the world. So if you think of your physical body as a temple, and that each part of the body represents different aspects of the temple, then you can start kind of having a sense of the relationship of what goes on in the whole physiology, right? So we know that our sense of consciousness, our sense of who we are, and the place where we receive lots of sensations is the head. We receive through our eyes, through our ears, through our taste buds, and we also express stuff that's going on in our consciousness using the voice. So the upper part of the body is the top of the body is almost like the most interesting, if you like, bit of who we are. Now, having said that, the rest of the body is totally essential because there's a heart and there's a digestive system and there are limbs and all kinds of bits of us that are also essential to who we are. So I'm not giving the head a total priority here, but that is where we sense our awareness. And until we get a pain in our foot, for example. But to go back to the temple, in ancient times, a temple would have different parts of it, different sections to it. In fact, today's churches also have these sections. Now, in the very early history of the Jewish tradition, which of course then gives rise later to Christianity, the temple had a section called the Holy of Holies. So we can, in some senses, liken the Holy of Holies to what goes on in our head. It's this special bit. And they separated that from the rest of the temple with a veil, like a curtain. And there's some very detailed descriptions of what this curtain was made of and how the high priest would go behind the veil in order to receive the power of God, really. And he would wear different things. If he was in the Holy of Holies, he would wear white. And once he'd come out through the curtain, he would take on a coloured robe, which included indigo and scarlet and so forth. And the veil itself, the curtain itself, was also coloured like that. Now, the idea of that was that behind the curtain, you were in heaven. You were in a heavenly space. And the curtain represented creation, the material world. And when you come through that, you put on different clothes because you are then part of the everyday stuff. So one of the ways of looking at this is that the veil in a temple represents the space, the liminal space between our superconsciousness, if you like, or cosmic consciousness, and our everyday consciousness. Something that I've previously mentioned is reminiscent of the idea of the dignified and the efficient. If you haven't heard me mention that, I'll just recap, because in the British Constitution, they had the idea that it's two parts. It's the dignified, which is the monarch, and the efficient, which is the government. So that is basically a religious idea. So just to go back to the veil, I want you to think of the veil as that liminal space between being conscious and aware and receiving sensations into your system, your whole system, not just your head, of course, having that everyday awareness and going beyond the veil takes you to an arena of cosmic consciousness, of light, where there is no creation. It's beyond creation. It's beyond duality, non-duality it would be. And when you dip into that arena, you return to the oneness. God, divine field, divine source, whatever word you like to think of. So that experience tends to happen, you become aware of it, you tend to become aware of it in your head when you meditate. So that's potentially why you can think of the head as being the Holy of Holies. And when you do experience it, the light that you meet expands and your sense of awareness opens up. Even though your eyes are closed, you become immensely aware of a kind of light energy. Sometimes people see in coloured lights. That's because they're on the edge of this. And then your whole system starts to feel as though it's light. It's light in the sense of a light, as an active substance, but it's also light in the sense of not weighing anything. So it begins to feel weightless as well. So this is an interesting process, because when you start meditating, especially if you use the kind of technique that I'm offering you, or if you use an Eastern mantra, or if you use the zero, which is what I offer, it's the same process. It's something that you use inside your head. It's a repetitive mantra or zero, and that allows your mind to free itself from the usual patterns of thinking, and the energy starts to shift, and you start to have this awareness of expansion and this awareness of light. And then you can also experience this light going through your whole body. And that is what Jesus mentions in the Gospel of Matthew, where he says, your whole body will be filled with light. And that was what it meant to become an angel, right? That's when you realise that you are an angel. You have got a physical body, and you have got an angel. You are an angel. That's what all these names that we've got for something that we think of as other than ourselves, like genius, daemon, guardian angel, guide. All those names that we use for something that we think is other is not other, it's us. That's what you are. You are your daemon. You are your genius. You are your angel. And when you get into meditation and you experience that, you know for sure who you are. And from that situation, from that new understanding, new wisdom, new knowledge, you then start to understand that the patterns that are going on in your life, the events and the choices can all go back to that wisdom. And then your life changes. Your life changes because you know something so beautiful about yourself that everything you do becomes coloured by it. And colour is another thing that we can come back to in another Signs and Wonders, because you can choose the colours of your own rainbow. In the meantime, keep shining. It's wonderful to talk to you. And do come back to me. Do go to the website. Do discover about my courses and email me if you want to ask anything. I'd love to hear from you. Many blessings.